Ready?
Yep.
Hey guys, Pitmaster here. I'm here with the doc.
John, good to see you, as always.
Good to see you, brother. It's been forever since I've seen the doc.
Forever.
Forever.
Seems like forever.
Seems like forever. It was yesterday. We hiked Madonna. Okay, so we got a lot to talk about. First things first, let's talk about UFC Argentina, which was a good card. I mean, on paper, I'll be honest, it was like, wow. I didn't really get that worked up for it, but there was some really exciting moments, and there was some exciting behind the scenes stories. So it was definitely worth talking about. So
yeah, I think the fights had mixed reviews, or some people weren't looking forward to them. And I think the UFC has so many events that some of these events, I think the casual fan doesn't even pay any attention to this stuff. And also when you have fights, was this the first time in Argentina?
I have no idea.
I think it might have been the first time. So they bring out these fighters, the local people, right, to
From
fight.
Argentina.
So they bring out the local fighters, including the main event. So I think that has something to do with it. But as we always see in this sport, though, it doesn't really matter how excited you are about the card. Sometimes those great cards aren't very good, and sometimes these cards that no one wants to see turn out to have some good fights in them.
Yeah, and what I was going to say was some of these little countries, not little country, but some of these countries don't really have like a lot of good fighters, so they kind of draw from like even neighboring cities or countries or whatever. But this one has Poncinevio, who is not he's not a good fighter. He's going to be a champion. And if he's not a champion, Santiago Poncinevio will fight for the title. He hits too hard not to. His X factor is he just knocks things out when he hits them. It's like he hit Neil Magny with a jab in the first round, and the fight was over. I mean, for all intents and purposes, that fight was over with that one jab.
That jab was right below his right eye. And you have important bones here right below your eye. I don't think he got hit in the actual eye, but man, Neil Magny was covering his face so he wouldn't get hit or whatever. He was protecting it from the get-go.
And he was protecting it, he was so defensive after that first punch in the first, 15 seconds of the first round. I don't even know, but he would never really mounted an attack after that. I mean, all he did some obligatory attacks, like a little punch here, a little kick there, but he was on the defensive.
It was the whole especially
fight.
Round one. He was like running. He was against the cage, running away the whole time. And this fight went for 4 rounds. I mean, it wasn't over right after that, for sure.
No, and it shows how tough Neil Magny is. But we all knew that already. I mean, everybody knows how tough Neil Magny is. I mean, from his personal life, military life, to his UFC life, everybody knows how tough he is. But I think what everybody notices now, and I've known for a long time since he beat Court McGee, the way he beat Court McGee, nobody beats Court McGee like that, was he hits too hard. He breaks things. I mean, he hit Neil one punch and the fight was all over. And then he kicked Neil one time and his leg was over. So, everything he hits, he breaks. I mean, whether he kicks it or punches it, when he hits things, they break. He hits too hard not to be champion.
Well, those leg kicks, too, were a big story of that fight. I mean, his poor leg, he could barely stand. And have you seen a fight stop for that? Because that was one of those things you were watching that going, does he need to keep taking this punishment? He's not going to win this fight.
Yeah, but there was a couple fights ago where a guy did that. It looked like he was hobbling around, then he came back to win. Which one was that?
I guess anything can happen, but man.
Yeah, but this guy,
his leg was abused.
It was abused from the first kick. I mean, so it was like, this guy just hit, he's such a hard hitter. I'm not even going to say just puncher anymore because that one leg kick to me ended Neil's mobility. Neil was tough, but he wasn't trying to win. He was trying to survive. He couldn't. I mean, he had nothing left. This guy took it out of him with a jab. So this guy's probably, he could be the hardest puncher in the UFC, but definitely in the welterweight division and pound for pound, I would say right now, without a doubt, nobody can argue with me. Ponzinibbio is the hardest puncher pound for pound in the UFC. Boom.
Boom. Yeah, it was an impressive display. I don't know where Ponzinibbio is ranked, but he's number 10.
10?
Yeah, Neil Magny was number 8.
He should be number 2 right now, or number 1. Ponzinibbio. He just hits too hard. It's like, what are you going to do? You can't block every one of his hits. Eventually something's getting through, and when it does, it's just going to hurt a lot. So there was that fight. I mean, ended in the fourth round.
How it ended too. That was that ended by knockout. You had to go back and watch it in slow motion to see his head get cranked. He was looking away from the punch, and he got tagged just enough to just put him out. What is that?
He got brutalized. That fight, he got brutalized. That's all. He was.
So he got knocked out.
Even when he tried to ride with the punch, I think anything that touches him, it was
following 4 rounds of abuse too.
Total abuse.
So he got hit, and if you watch it, you almost would have to have super slow motion, but his head gets twisted ever so slightly. But it just goes to show you it doesn't take much when you hit someone in the chin or to get them to turn their head like that to knock them out. So it was a knockout. Neil fell right on his face. I think Santiago followed it up with a couple punches and the ref jumped in there. But you look at that and you go, did it need to come to that knockout? I mean, Neil Magny was already incapacitated.
He should have stopped it in the second round.
Yeah, so I don't know. If you were in his corner, I knew you probably would have stopped
I would have stopped it. The referee did a good job. I don't think the referee was... I don't think that...
Was Herb Dean the ref on that one?
I don't even know.
It was the main fight.
But it was not... There was no point at which the referee should have stopped it when he didn't. I don't think so. But I think the corner should have stopped it. I think between the second and the third round. Definitely before the third and fourth. It should have been stopped.
What did the refs tell you before a fight about the corner stopping the fight? Do they say anything? Are there rules?
They say, I don't know if it's still a rule. I've never abided by it. They say you can't throw in the towel. They say that's against the rule. They tell you as the corner to go run and find a commissioner, tell him you want it stopped, and then he'll try and get the referee's attention. That's like calling.
If it's bad enough that you need to end the fight, it needs to end immediately. If you're going to throw in the towel, it's not just let me get around to it.
That's why it's a stupid rule.
Yeah,
it's like if the cops say, if someone's breaking into your house and they have a gun, call 911. No, you shoot the guy, then you call 911. If you call 911, by the time they get there, it's too late. By the time you're running around trying to find the commissioner, your fighter, it's too late. So you throw in the towel and you ask for forgiveness instead of permission.
So what do you throw it at the refs to get their attention?
You just throw it in. They'll see it wherever it falls. You don't throw it behind them. I've done it many times. Never got in trouble for it.
You get scolded for that?
Never have.
No.
Never have. Because to me, throwing it in is like telling the ref, you fucked up, so I bailed you out. But
you would have thrown in the towel on Neil, and I don't think he would have complained.
I don't think
he took more abuse than he probably needed to.
I probably wouldn't have thrown in the towel. I probably would have stopped it in between rounds.
Okay, that's fine.
But
too.
yeah, all
right, so the way that fight ended, terribly for Neil. He got knocked out at the end.
Santiago Ponzinibbio hits too hard. He should be banned from any combative sports. He should be banned from the UFC.
He's too good.
That's not too good. He hits too hard. It's not normal. That is not normal. So then we got,
let's go to the beginning of the card. So they had Cavillo and Botello were fighting. This is the female fight.
Yeah.
One of them was out on a marijuana suspension. I think it was Cavillo.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But it ended in a submission choke.
Why is pot illegal? It's the dumbest thing in the world.
Well, it's not in this state.
Well, I know it's for this sport. It's like it shouldn't be banned. But anyway, Cavillo got a quick takedown and a submission. Bing, bing. She trains with the alpha male. Now I guess it's alpha male / female gym. So the alphas. We'll just call them the alphas. The alpha gym. She trains there.
But this is an example, and if you look at this card of a fight that ended in a finish, but wasn't necessarily the most exciting fight. In fact, I think some of the fights that end in decision sometimes can be better, and I think on this card that's true.
Yeah, it's just, anytime, but that's true for any combative sport. You always want a good fight, unless you're one of the fighters. Then you just want a quick fight. But, if it's a quick knockout, or a quick submission, it's never, everybody wants to see fight of the night, but the fighters don't, believe me.
Yeah, it takes a toll on the fighters. You can win the fight of the night, but you get a lot of those on your record, and those are wars.
Yeah.
So anyway, that fight was over quick, round 1. Did we watch this next fight? Guido Canetti and Marlon Vera.
Yeah, he was getting beaten pretty bad.
Canetti was.
Yeah, it just looked like in the beginning, I think it was the second round, because the first round was really even. And then the second round, Vera just started turning it up, and he ended up getting him. I think it was a rear choke, but it was a submission after winning, like with the hands. So there was that. Then there was one of Mark Montoya's guys.
Another Factory X guy.
Another Factory X guy.
This guy on the screen.
Yeah, the guy on the screen, and he, man.
That's Ian Heinisch. Fought Cesar Ferreira. How do you say his name? He's from South America. I think he's from Brazil, isn't he?
Ferreira. Yeah, Ian just was too strong, too big, too strong, too fast. Didn't look bigger, so that was the first thing I noticed in the beginning. Is like Ian looks a lot smaller than Cesar, but he made up for it in everything.
So this was Ian's Octagon or UFC debut.
Yeah. He
fought in the Contender Series and really annihilated a guy with ground and pound elbows. So this was his first fight, so it's kind of cool for him. I think it was a last minute replacement.
Yeah,
like 2 weeks or something. They go fight in Argentina.
Yeah.
So that was kind of neat for him and for Mark Montoya's guy. And then this other guy's fought a bunch in the UFC.
Yeah, and he looks huge. Looked in the beginning like he was going to be able to control Ian, but then starting towards the end of that first round, you could tell that Ian wasn't going to have it. And from the second round on, he was able to take Ian down because Ian was just hitting a lot harder than he looked like he was going to, because he was smaller than Cesar. But so Cesar decided to, take him down, try to impose his grappling game on him. But Ian was able to pop up every time.
Every time
he could just pop
the most
right up.
Impressive thing was Cesar would take him down, but he wouldn't be down for long. He got up out of some pretty tough positions quickly. Yeah. He got taken down multiple times, and he always got up. The other thing he did that I liked, every time they were in a clinch or anything, he was active. He was doing something. He was punching him. He was active the whole time.
It was a close-ish fight. I don't think anybody was wondering who was going to win. But, Cesar was definitely competitive the whole way, his grappling and his takedowns. But Ian just looked too strong. He had too many good combinations inside, and he was able to get out of everything. Not only takedowns get back up, he was able to get out of bad positions right away, too. So we're going to see a lot more of Ian Heinisch. I don't know what weight that was. I think it was 185. I have a feeling Ian can make 70, if I'm not mistaken. But like I said, like you said, I think it was less than a 2 week replacement. So he took the fight on really short notice. So we will be seeing more of Ian Heinisch in the near future,
Yeah.
and he has a really interesting backstory. Where he got arrested and he spent time in prison and in Europe. Then he spent time in prison in Rikers Island, New York, and he has a really interesting story. It's
He looks younger than he is. I think he's 30. He looks like a kid.
yeah.
And they published, all around the fights, they published some information about him. I think he wrote a short story about his journey, but he was a state champion in Colorado in wrestling in high school. And then he got involved with trafficking drugs or something. He got arrested. He was supposed to go to court, and he fled the country. So he was a fugitive for like 5 years. So he goes to Europe, and he starts trafficking drugs there. And he goes to prison in Spain for a while, and he's doing some kind of Spanish wrestling in prison, he said.
Yeah.
So he's got some kind of Spanish wrestling
It
background.
should be a movie. It will be a movie.
So I think he speaks fluent Spanish, I'm sure, from learning Spanish there in Spain. And then, he gets in trouble in Spain, and they said, you have to leave Europe, or else we'll cut time off your sentence.
If you just
so he's
leave.
like, fine, I'll leave. So he goes back to New York, and he's like at the airport in customs, and they identify who he is, and they arrest him. So because he was a fugitive from the law for so long. So how does this guy straighten himself out? He was, I think he was addicted to drugs or alcohol or whatever, and then he's back training. And look at him. I mean, he looks amazing. So, kind of an interesting story. He would be a great guy to talk to. Not many people have this path to the UFC.
Nah, it's interesting stuff.
Yeah, something you'd watch a movie about and go, yeah, that's not true. Like, there's no way that story.
It's weird how like the immigration, he gets like sent right to Rikers.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Well, I
like
think
the
he was
vetting
in
thing.
New York, so
Yeah.
I don't know. But anyway, they pulled him out, and he ended up back in Colorado, training at Factory X, and doing really well.
Yeah.
So
he's doing
I
really
think
well.
he turned pro. He's got like 12 fights. I think he's 12-1 now. This is his first fight in the UFC, though.
Yeah, first fight.
So
in the UFC.
he'll be an interesting guy to watch and to learn more about and to hear him talk about his story.
We're gonna have him on the show.
Yeah, I think that would be cool. I'd love to talk to that guy.
We'll have him on the show. All right, next fight, Johnny Walker. All right. This guy came out dancing. And it's his first UFC fight, and he came out
He
dancing.
came from the Contender Series too, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think he's another just first fight guy.
I think he's from Brazil. He's coming out dancing. His name's Johnny Walker. I'm thinking Johnny Walker. Liquor. Whiskey. Crazy that they named him Johnny with the last name of Walker, but I like it. But anyway, he comes out dancing, and he just got in the cage, and he just looked so calm and cool and happy. He looked really happy. I'm thinking, do you know who you're fighting? You're fighting you're fighting Roundtree, bro. It's not like that's like, you're not supposed to like be happy fighting, Khalil Roundtree, especially your first fight. But he was, and the first kick that landed on his leg, he was clowning Khalil. He like rubbed his leg and started making a fight like.
He's a big dude too. He's
Yeah.
like 6'5" or 6'6".
He's making a face like,
He's huge.
oh, that really hurts. But he was like making this mocking face, and it was like, at first I thought it was funny, but then I thought, it's not going to be funny if he gets knocked out. He's fighting Roundtree, and then all of a sudden he kicks Roundtree in the head, and then immediately grabs him in a tie clinch, and Roundtree's like nailing him in the face, but he just holds the tie clinch and like.
He looks so calm.
It
too.
didn't even hurt. And then all of a sudden, he just picks up one hand and goes about this far, about 2 inches, and it staggers Roundtree. And then he did it again and knocked him out cold.
He just dropped him. That's typical, like just his body shut off.
Crazy.
He hit him right in the temple with
It was
elbow.
crazy.
And you could hear it. It was brutal.
He is going. And then he did a backflip.
Yeah.
He's like 6'3" or 4 or 5 or something. And he did a backflip like nothing. This kid is gonna. And then he made He made like goofy faces, kind of like yeah, I can't remember.
Wordrum
Yeah, Verdum.
for
Yeah, he made like weird faces like Verdum. Maybe that's a cartoon in Brazil or something. But he had the same kind of like facial goofing around faces. That guy's a funny guy, and he can fight. That's his first UFC fight. He's 12 knockouts out of 14 wins. He's gonna be back. He's gonna be back, and I'm interested to see this guy fight. There's another real tall guy like that, light heavyweight, that's from LA. I forget his name, but that'll be an interesting fight. But anyway, so Johnny Walker, very entertaining, very talented. Can't wait to see what happens with him.
So that's another thing about a card like this that you got to watch these cards and see these
Guys.
characters, these new guys. So he's going to be fun to watch, see what he does next.
Yeah, we got two. We got Ian and we got Johnny Walker. Like, there's two newcomers to the UFC that are definitely made a huge splash.
Yeah, I think so too.
So now we got Ricardo Lamas against Darren Elkins.
Two not newcomers.
Yeah, two very not newcomers. I think one's like 38, one's 36. It's basically, even though Darren does hit hard, he has really sloppy looking punches, even though he does hit hard. But Ricardo has like sharp looking everything. But you cannot take Darren Elkins lightly. And it was an interesting fight up until the end. It really was. Darren came back with his takedowns, but he also will stand there and swing. Even the other person looks a lot sharper than he does, and he has really sloppy punches. He's a lot. If you guys remember boxing, it's not Noriega, but the guy from Colombia. He was actually a world champion at like 140, and he was such a sloppy puncher, but he knocked people out. And Darren Elkins kind of punches like that. He just has sloppy looking strikes, but he hits hard, and he can do a head kick. He threw a couple head kicks, so he's pretty deceiving, and he's tough as shit. But he basically got pounded and ended in the third round.
That was a rough stoppage TKO, right?
It was a TKO, yeah. So yeah, he was getting beaten. I don't think he argued too much with the stoppage, did he? He might have.
No, I think the stoppage was pretty good on that one.
So that's all we got to say. I mean, it's a good card. I think the main thing about the card is watch for Ian, right? Watch for Ian. He's got a great story. Read his story. It's really interesting. Johnny Walker is the newcomer. I can't wait to see what he's going to do. I think that Ponzinibbio hits too hard. He should be outlawed immediately from the UFC, because I'm not saying he does any kind of steroid or anything. He probably doesn't. But he has an unfair advantage. What do you think?
I think that's what we're looking for. Did Court trained with Ian, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I saw a picture of Court and Ian together.
Yeah, he was telling me about them.
Yeah, I think maybe they've been great training partners.
Oh yeah, they're
for
great
each other.
training partners. Court would call me a couple times when he was in camp over at Factory S, and he was telling about this guy, and I was like, wow, he was super impressed with him. So I'm interested to see where he goes, and his story is a movie. And Walker, I can't wait to see what's next with him either.
All right, cool.
What else we got? Let's talk about your pop's book.
Oh yeah, my dad published a book, which is awesome. Anyway, it's called Driving with a Teenage Brain. He basically wrote this book. He didn't start it as a book, but when my daughters were getting to the age where they were going to start driving, I think he was more worried about it than me. My dad lost his sister in a driving accident. He was a New York State trooper, so he responded to car wrecks all the time. and then he became an attorney and was a legal advisor for the police department where I grew up. So he was involved with a lot of car accident stuff, and so he was really worried about my daughter's driving, especially in California. He was freaked out about it. So he started writing basically a manual like 5 years ago just for my daughter, for my first daughter that was going to drive. He put a lot of work into it, and eventually it just turned into a book. So it's basically a book for new drivers for, I think he was going to call it like the first 500 miles, but anyway, what did he call it? Driving with a teenage brain. So it does talk a little bit about, in the book, about, your decision-making ability before your brain's fully formed, even though we're giving you a car to drive. And there's a really good
6,000-pound death trap.
Yeah, exactly. So and there's
with
a lot,
a teenage brain.
Yeah, with a teenage, so dangerous situation. And unfortunately, in my line of work, I see a lot of those kids in the emergency room, and I never want to see any kids in there, but I don't want to see my daughter's friends in there. I mean, it's just we live in a small town. So anyway, he published his book, and he's obviously gave the book to my family and my daughters, but so it's pretty cool. He never wrote a book before, but it has a section in it that's really good for parents that's about buying a vehicle for your new driver. I know people that do what I do that have put their kids in some pretty dangerous cars, which is really scary to me. They should be in some sort of tank anyway, but something visible. Anyway, there's a section in the book for adults, but it's mainly written, most of the book is for kids, for new drivers, about, just the basically keeping yourself alive out there on the road. So anyway, my dad's book, check it out on Amazon, Driving with a Teenage Brain.
Check it out. Yeah. This is not a good picture. You don't want your kid. There's a picture of on the cover of a fiery crash.
That's actually from my dad's town in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. That was a wreck right in town that he put on the cover. So anyway, it was a passion project for him. So it's a pretty cool book. I've read it. But anyway, if any of you have kids that are driving or about to drive, it's definitely worth reading.
We will have the link to the Amazon in this podcast.
And that's what's going on in my life. But I need to ask you about what's going on with Chuck's fight. That's soon. It's coming up.
Chuck's fight's coming up next weekend. It's coming up. A lot of stuff was going on. I saw a bunch of interviews. He said I was going to work his corner. I was going to work with him. I'm not sure what happened, but I didn't. I don't know what's real. I honestly don't really know who's handling his training and all his managerial stuff right now. Everything has changed. So, I mean, he's fighting Tito for the third time. He's beat him twice. I mean, it should be a no-brainer. I hope it is. And I hope he gets whatever he wants from there. But, I mean, to me, lucky, he's lucky to be in a position healthy-wise where, he feels good enough at 48 to fight. And, I wish him the best.
Man, he looks good.
He looks good. He looks strong. And I'm wishing him the best. He's part of the family. He got really tied up in his training, and some other people took over his managerial and his training for this fight. So I made myself, they knew that I was available if they needed anything. I mean, I've already trained him to, like I said, knock out Tito twice, so it's not like, oh, that's new for me. But I wish him the best, and I'm sure I'll talk to him soon, and should be interesting.
The way he's been talking that I've heard is this is not just a one-off fight. Like, he plans on fighting. If that goes forward, who do you think would be a good matchup for him right now?
I don't know. I mean, it depends. I mean, I think someone that age group, maybe Vanderlei might be a good one, or maybe one of the guys that beat him.
Who, like Rampage?
Like Rampage or somebody, because that would be like redemption. That would they beat you, but I mean, you beat someone twice. It's still still good money fight. Tito has a name and stuff, but it's like that fat chick. I mean, you've already bopped her twice. You don't want to bop her a third time. It's kind of like, oh no, but it's a good fight for him. and it's a good comeback. But then, I mean, a redemption fight, I think at this stage would be really cool. Like, I mean, just like, because then just like it's off your shoulders, like. Phew. But I don't know. I don't know what I would set up for him if I was trying to get him fights. I definitely think it would be someone, closer to his age, and there should. I mean, like in the majors. I mean, when you can't quite, compete with the guys your age, you do AAA. There's no shame in that. That's, AAA baseball, AA baseball. I mean, there's leagues like in the CrossFit. I mean, the fittest people in the world. But once they get a little older, there's a masters division and a seniors division, and you're competing, just with people your age more. It's a little fair. Just like when you're 12, you're not going to compete against a 20-year-old. Well, when you're, close to 50, you shouldn't compete with a 20-year-old either. So, I don't know, that's how I feel. What do you think?
Well, I think, and then the other interesting thing is, where does Golden Boy Promotions go from here? Is this going to be a one-off thing? Is this going to be successful? Or are they going to start promoting MMA?
Yeah, I don't know. It looks like on the card, it's like I'm not recognizing anyone. It looks like they're adding amateur fights with pro fights, and so I don't really understand the whole thing because they announced it kind of late, and so I don't know. Boxing is different, and Golden Boy definitely knows what he's doing when it comes to boxing, and he seems to have enough resources where he could definitely parlay that into this, and I'm hoping for the best all the way around. So I don't know anything. I'm just I'm actually a spectator in this one. I'm not a spectator. I'm not going. I was actually gonna get tickets, and then I didn't, and then I was actually offered free tickets, and I still don't want to go. I'll just be too nervous for nothing. Like when I'm working in a corner, at least I'm helping somebody, get out of a situation, or I can give them some good advice, even though I'm nervous as hell. But as a spectator and being completely helpless in helping them, then I'd rather just sit it out.
Well, I've seen you with one of your fighters. I've watched that fight on TV with you, and it's something. John won't even watch it. Just leave the room, cover his eyes.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah, because you can't do anything. You're helpless. You can't do anything to help him. But.
At least when I'm in the corner, the only reason I watch it is because I want to pick up any little thing that my guy should do more of, or that person is making a mistake of, and then I can get in there to try to help them out. I got less than a minute, but I can give them hopefully some golden tips to help them, win the fight. Sometimes it's as much as, giving them a strategy. Okay, circling this way. All right, as soon as you hear me yell this, then throw a head kick. And I've done that before, and that's worked. Sometimes it's just I can tell my guy isn't pulling the trigger, so I just have to spur him up a little, like, knock him the fuck out, or something like that. And sometimes that's all it takes. And sometimes it's, he's tired, you're not, you need to push it, something like that. So it's all kind of different strategies and motivation in the corner. It's kind of like a combination of Richard Simmons and the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket and Tony Robbins. You have to be like all three of those people at the same time in a corner.
Wow, that's a good combo. It's all rolled into one.
All rolled into one.
Well, it'll be interesting.
It will be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah. I hope everything turns out perfect for Chuck. I hope he wins easily. I hope he doesn't get hit. I hope I hope the best for Chuck. He's family, and I wish him the best. So,
all right, very good, man. Well, that's Saturday.
That's coming up.
The Forum in Los Angeles, and it looks like it's going to be on anything you want. So if you want to watch it on DirecTV or Dish or online or whatever,
it's pay-per-view, and you can watch it. You can watch it on any pay-per-view venue.
Well,
online.
Good luck to Chuck.
Good luck, Chuck.
For sure. All right, John. Good to see you, man.